Just finished Pokemon Pokopia, and I have to say it's one of the best, if not the best, Pokemon spinoff I have ever played. If you don't know, I've been around for a little while. So I was playing Pokemon spinoffs on the N64 and the GameCube. So I've played Hey You Pikachu with the terrible mic, and I have played Pokemon Channel, which is a very weirdly niche game that I hear nobody talking about, but it was very boring in hindsight. However, Pokemon Pokopia is great. The main campaign is great. The overall gameplay loop is great. I enjoyed it immensely. However, I have found a very interesting deep cut that has to do with season 1 of the Pokemon anime, found within a job of one of the Pokemon within Pokemon Pokopia. Because you see, various Pokemon can do various tasks. Some of them can do something called trade, in which you set up a counter and you set up a cash register, and that Pokemon can initiate trade with you, in which there is a barter system and you offer up various items that meet or exceed the value of the item being presented that you want, right? So the funny thing about this is that one of the Pokemon that can actually trade with you is Ghastly. Ghastly being able to use a cash register is actually a phenomenal deep cut from way back in the day, because in episode 20 of the Pokemon anime, during season 1, in the episode called The Ghost of the Maiden's Peak, which premiered way back in the day in Japan on August 12th, 1997, but very coolly, it premiered in the States during October on the 2nd during 1998. So this was a ghost themed episode during Halloween time. Very, very cool. But anyway, there is a Ghastly who basically is the Pokemon of that episode, right? And oddly, this is the strongest Ghastly, I think, in the anime's history, because if you recall, if you're an old school fan, this is the infamous episode that Venustoise comes from. This is also the episode in which we get to see a very weird 90s anime styled mongoose that might have been the precursor to Gumshoos and Young Goose that came about in the Generation 7 games, Pokemon Sun and Moon. But anyway, the Ghastly in question is responsible for manifesting all these things, and I'm not sure if they're actually real or they're just illusions, but this is the first time in which a ghost Pokemon has this sort of weird Toon Force ability, and it's very cool. But to continue, the funny part about this Ghastly is that it can talk, which is weird. It disguises itself as an old woman, and it actually makes money by keeping the legends of the old times alive. And we see it at the end of the episode manifest a cash register in front of itself. So it's very funny that what we see in Pokemon Pokopia could be a reference to Ghastly being a merchant of sorts in this anime episode. And not only that, but it affects the whole line, because Haunter and Gengar can also do this. So that's pretty interesting. And I wonder if this really was a deep cut, because this is the only really bland reference in which Ghastly is in front of a cash register. So I just thought I'd bring that to people's attention, because I don't think anybody remembers that this was the case back in the day. And I thought that was really interesting. Now, when are we going to get Venustoise? Because he was kind of sick back in the day. Or in hindsight, maybe we already have, and our Venustoise is just Torterra, which is kind of lame, but it is what it is. Anyway, stay rosy.